What's going on, y'all? It's Life Aspects with Visionary Rose, and this is part 2 of Don't Get Knocked Off Your Monument. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, as soon as I get this, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, like a monument. And it doesn't have to be the one, so I'm just going to just draw something like tall. So what this is the monument. Now, what I said in the first video was that the monument is you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw the sun. Now, some of my young people I have that watch me, you guys already probably have heard the song Lotto, Sunshine on Me. Now, when I heard that song, I was like, okay, yeah, this is really the vibe, because that song really does says a lot. Sunshine on Me. Now, the sun stands out a lot because the sun, we all know that the characteristics of the sun is one thing that is that the sun is bright. So we're going to look at you as like you being the sun and you being, the monument. Okay. So with the sun, I know this is not like a perfect sun or whatever, but this is you right here. So in the monument of not trying to get knocked off your monument, number one, you want to make sure that you're stable. And that stable can come in mentally. It can come in mentally, and I'm so heavy on, the mental and the emotional and the physical, because as young people, as we get older, we're actually doing this. And day by day, my handwriting is not the best, but day by day, we're growing. And so you want to make sure that you're emotionally, mentally, and physically, you're physically good in the midst of your monument, because this is you right here, and you have so many different things. So you want to make sure that you're stable, and also financially and spiritually. And you may not be, financially stable right now, or you may not be mentally stable right now. You may not be emotionally stable right now. You may not be physically stable right now. And when I say, because when people hear like the word stable, sometimes it could, put you in when they say, oh, they're not mentally stable. Now, there are some people whose mindset is not mentally stable because maybe they're battling with depression, or they just received some bad news, and they're really just trying to figure out how to simply just kind of like cope with it, and how to just kind of like move on. And then you have like on the other side with mentally, like there are just some people who are just like not mentally really like good, where their mind is just like like completely gone, where you've seen it where some people may take, drugs, and they act out, and it puts their mind mentally, because they really don't know what they're doing. They may act out. So, how like when you, like, that's why they say like the ABC store, alcoholic, beverage, I hope I'm saying it right, control, but all around the word is spirits. So when those spirits and take into your body, when you put those things into your body, you begin to like, act out and do different things. So when people get drunk, sometimes people are happy, sometimes people cry, sometimes, people are sad, sometimes people are mad. And, and then most of the time when the liquor dies down, they begin to get violent. So you want to make sure that you're not kind of doing anything to kind of, separate you from being stable from your mind mentally, emotionally, and physically, because all of those things, like when a person like get those like spirits into their body, they act out in different ways and they don't even really know it. Let's move forward. So with making sure that your monument with you is good, you want to make sure that these things are straightened out. Now, when I said something about the spirits, I was just using it as an example. Okay, so you want to also make sure, let's say that I said something about like the energy in that video as well too. So making sure like your energy is really, really good, and also being able to sense the energy. I spoke on that, but I'm going to speak some more on that right now. So sensing the energy and exactly what you want to be around. So you may have had people that, that you can't hang around anymore because maybe the energy is not the same. It's not flowing the same way. And sometimes you just simply just outgrow people. And that's okay, because, sometimes it's not meant for you or a person to, be friends forever, or to kind of like, grow and walk together. And that's okay, because, being that you've outgrown, or either like maybe you are just on a different level than that person that you are. And it doesn't mean that you're better than that person. It just means that you guys are just you're not moving in the same direction. And that's what happens sometimes. You may grow up with the person, and then, when y'all get older, you guys are not like, you guys don't have, that same connection that you used to have. And that's what happens when you just simply, you outgrow people. You outgrow people, and don't feel bad for outgrowing people, but make sure that when you feel the sense of that you have outgrown somebody, outgrown or outgrow, but you've outgrown people in your life. And right now, with you trying to outgrow people, you sense that, okay, me and this person are not on the same page, and I have outgrown them. And you mentally realize that you outgrown that person. And so, on an emotional level, you're probably upset, like, dang, that was my dog, and I had to let that person go. But, physically, in moving forward in life, that you have to, separate yourself because maybe the energy is not the same, or maybe they're not, doing the same thing, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, like because you're in school and like they're not. That doesn't mean like, when I'm talking about like you've outgrown people, let's say like, you used to party and stuff like that, and you used to, go out and stuff like that, and you used to have, friends that you would go out with. But now you're getting older, and you don't want to, do that same thing anymore. You're just trying to get yourself together. You're trying to be like stable. And when you're trying to be stable, you may have to like separate yourself. Okay, let's move forward. So when you're growing as like as in general, when you're just growing, things will start to happen. So sometimes you may have separation, because when you grow, you begin to separate yourself from people, or you will begin to get that sense that you feel like you have to separate yourself. Also, when you're growing, you'll begin to like you'll begin to feel it, because you will know like, dang, it's time for a change. Like, it's time to grow. It's time to do something differently. It's time to, like not be still stuck in the same spot. So although this is you right here, you have all of these characteristics that you're trying to fix, or that you're trying to, get together. So you have like your goals. You may have like some people some younger teens may have kids. So with all of that, having to have a stable mind to take care of your children, having a stable mind to stay strong for your kids, being strong emotionally, because as parents, well, I'm not a parent, but watching my mom as parents, she had to stay strong. And physically, she got up, she went to work, did the necessities that she had to do to make sure that her kids was well taken care of. So whether that was making sure that we had to, go to school, getting us a good education, and, just making sure that the things that she didn't have, she made sure that we had. Also, I said something about with kids and stuff like that. Okay, so let's move on. Let's say that with you and your monument, let's say if you wanted to start a business. So you want to start a business. I'm going to say start a B. Business. I hope I spell business right. That's what I start a B, because I'm thinking BUIS. But start a business. Let's say you wanted to start a business one day. Now, all of the stuff that you need to start a business and stuff like that. First, you have to get, I think they say your LLC, and I'm not sure all the way. I think it's licensed something. But you have to get like your license and stuff. Now, when people start a business, they most likely have already written out their plan. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be with just like a business, because everybody has a plan. Everybody has a plan. And then there are some people who just don't have a plan and just say, I'm just going with the flow in life. But in order to have that plan, you have written out your plan, because you have so many things around your monument that you try to build up. So everyone has a plan, but then there's some people who don't. I said that already. But with the plan, see, you can have a plan to be for your mental, for your emotional, and physical level. And also, let's say like for your monument, you want to get in shape. Get in shape. Now, let's break this down physically, because I know I put get in shape and you're probably like, well, that's the same thing as physically. Well, it can be, and at the same time, when I say physically, because physically you can be stressed. Physically you can be stressed, and sometimes people wear their stress on their face. That's why it's very, very important to have yourself a mental break. Give yourself a mental break, because you don't want to look stressed. You don't want to look tired. You don't want to look overwhelmed. And you definitely don't want to look depressed. You definitely don't want to look like what you're going through. And That's why I say, like, getting in shape and stuff like that, because sometimes we could be going through so much, and like, we're just like depressed, or sometimes like we're eating, or either we're not eating, or either we're not getting out of the bed. There's so many different things that happens, mentally to you and physically to you when you get in that state of depression. And if you haven't you know experience these type of things, such as, like, weight loss or weight gain, or depression because of childhood trauma, or triggering things, and also, like, with triggering words. There are words that people use against us, or that people say to us, that can trigger us. And also, that's why I say you have to really, really be stable mentally, because when something triggers you, you really don't know how you're going to respond in that moment. And see, that's why it's important for you to not let people kind of get you out your character and stuff like that. So I want to kind of bring this into when you outgrown people, because when you outgrow people,